Hello, everybody. My name is Olivia.
And I'm Pat. We're two of the founding members of Connecting the Dots in Early Childhood Education, and we're so excited to meet you today.
Welcome to our first podcast. We're really excited to have you all listening in. We thought a good idea for this first podcast would be to kind of talk to you a little bit about what is Connecting the Dots in Early Childhood Education, how did it come to be? And so we're really excited to kind of talk to you a little bit about that today. So Pat, do you want to get us started and talk a little bit about how did Connecting the Dots in Early Childhood Education come to be?
Absolutely. Well, I'd say, Olivia, that it is one of the few silver linings of the pandemic. Our work was just stopped so abruptly and relationships were halted, and it really was piercing to our hearts because we had really gained a lot of traction in the work that we had been doing through the Pre-K Explore track. And that work had started 5 years ago with an initiative and a lot of money provided by the DOE for the DECE to work with the Ed Center at Bank Street College to create coaching supports for thousands of classrooms across the 5 boroughs in supporting early childhood math development. Through curriculum and through activities, we were able to really start to kind of unveil for teachers what can happen in early childhood around math. Many pre-K teachers don't get a lot of training around early childhood math in their lower degree or their higher ed degree. So we felt that it was important for us, because we also had been pre-K teachers, to be a part of something so exciting. And it was really, really working. And I think it still will. So we're excited about that. But we wanted to continue to provide supports around that. So that's how we came to be.
That's how we came to be. And we're really just so excited to finally be getting up and running and sharing some of our resources and information with you all. So let's talk a little bit about what are some things that we noticed when we were visiting classrooms. Pat and I, along with the other members of Connecting the Dots in Early Childhood Education, who you will get to meet through our other content and platforms, we noticed a lot of different things because we were going into public schools as well as childcare centers across all 5 boroughs of New York City. So Pat, do you want to talk a little bit about what are some things that we noticed?
Oh, well, we were, privileged to have a front row seat in so many different settings, early childhood settings, and to see the beautiful diversity and multiculturalism that is at play in our pre-K classrooms. And we got to see also that teachers oftentimes struggle with feeling supported to really have the gains that they're looking to have and that they're expected to have. Sometimes those things don't align. So they have all of these challenges, but sometimes they don't have the support, the consistent support to get them where they're trying to go. Part of that comes from lack of understanding about how important these early childhood years are, and that it truly is education. It is not daycare, but it is education that is happening in these pre-K classrooms. So I think that was a big part of our work, is to try and support teachers in being seen as the professionals that they are, and also knowing that they should access their professional voices to speak up to get those supports that they need. That was a big part of our coaching.
I definitely agree. And I think really a lot of our coaching also focused on not just supporting teachers and teaching assistants, but also supporting school building leaders who sometimes wanted to give that support to their early childhood educators, but just didn't quite have those tools in their toolbox. So I definitely agree. We saw a lot of similar things. And let's talk a little bit about how we put relationships at the center of our coaching work.
Well, yeah, I mean, you cannot coach without building a trusting relationship. That can be challenging in a very busy pre-K day where there are a multitude of things happening all at once. But I think that we managed in our coaching model to always carve out that needed time to get to know each individual teacher that we were working with, to see them as a whole person. And that is basically our coaching model, and our coaching approach is to get to know the person, to build that trust, and also then to support them in problem solving for themselves, giving them resources and giving them strategies and lots of background information that is needed sometimes to make those leaps in your development. But it's basically, we want to coach you around how to problem solve for yourself so that when you're no longer receiving coaching supports, you can continue that work. So that is a big part of how we work as coaches.
Definitely. And I think that we always remind ourselves as coaches that we're there to support teachers in bettering themselves and working on things that they feel they need support in. We're not those people who are going to come in and prescribe, you need to do X, Y, and Z to be a better teacher. Pat
Right.
always says, in order to be effective, you have to be reflective. And so I think a lot of our coaching is really embedded in eliciting reflective practice, because we're all lifelong learners and we can all learn new things all of the time. So that's definitely
That's
true. And so I think now it's good for us to talk a little bit more about what people can expect from Connecting the Dots moving forward. This is our first podcast, and we're just kind of giving people a chance to get to know us. So Pat, do you want to talk a little bit about what people can expect moving forward?
I think so. I think I want to clarify too that we have coached in pre-K, but we've also coached in other contexts. So we've coached for universities, and we've coached in situations where we were creating professional development for organizations. So just to be clear that, we're kind of a little bit broader than just the pre-K math. As we've said, we coach around best practices, social emotional supports, and in your classroom, and imagination play, and transitions, and all types of facets of early childhood education. But when you come to Connecting the Dots in early childhood education, you are going to be able, there's something for everybody, first of all, wouldn't you say, Olivia?
Oh, definitely.
There is, and we've tried to make it very affordable because, as we said, what sparked our interest in continuing this and creating these platforms is that we know the supports are still needed. And so we wanted to make sure that everybody can access them in whatever way is most comfortable for them. So we have podcasts. This is our first, but we will be having other podcasts featuring cutting edge thinking around early childhood development, brain development, all of the new things that are happening in early childhood. We'll be speaking with professors from universities. We'll be speaking with experts in neuroscience. Hopefully, that's something we're very interested in. Special ed professionals who can help shed some light on ways to walk you through the process of getting those supports that are so needed so frequently for young children. And we know that can be challenging. But we'll also have a blog for very engaging conversations, and you can call a coach. We're excited about that because we know that some of our relationships that we've already built can then continue, but we can also create a lot of new relationships. We'll also be sharing with you Patreon memberships so that you can get strategic videos that can help you move your education supports along in your classroom, whether virtually or in person. Am I leaving something out, Olivia?
I think that there's just so much that we're going to be offering. And so I think the best thing that people can do is, if they want to find out more, is that at the end of this video, there will be a slide that will have a link for our website, which is kind of like the hub, and it will have information about all of the other platforms that we are on. But we have our website, it'll have our email address. So feel free to contact us, reach out. We're so excited for people to be along this journey with us. And then we have a bunch of social media that we have joined. We have a Twitter, a LinkedIn, a Facebook. We're going to have the Patreon coming pretty soon. And so an Instagram. And so if you want to follow us on any of those platforms, just be sure to check out the links below if you're watching this on YouTube. And you can also find all of the links and the handles on the slide at the end of this video.
And you'll also get to meet the other members of our company.
Yes,
So
it's not just Pat and I. So we're very excited for you to meet our colleagues and to get to know us a little bit more. And so I think that until next time, it's been a pleasure and so fun. We're so glad that you were here to listen to our first podcast. Pat, do you have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
oh, no, I think just welcome to our community, and we can't wait to engage with you in 2021.
Definitely. And we'll see you next time.
See you then.